October 20th. Council meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge if you're able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please take the roll.
Councilmember Cooper.
Here.
Councilmember
Beaton.
Here.
Mayor Zelensky.
Here.
Councilmember Sipsek. Here. Councilmember Smansky.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Grabowski.
Here.
Councilmember Martin Pontiac.
Here.
City Manager.
Here.
City Attorney.
Here.
DPW Director.
Here.
Finance Director.
Here.
Planning and Zoning Administrator.
Here.
Police Chief.
Here.
Fire Chief.
Here.
City Engineer.
Here.
Roll call complete.
Thank you. Citizens' comments on agenda-related items. This is an opportunity for citizens to comment on any agenda-related items tonight. Is there anybody who would like to comment? Please state your name and address.
Is it all right if I speak with my mask off?
Sure.
Thank you. My name is Joy Smith. I live at 164 Harrison Street in Manistee. I would like to speak about the potential safe harbor shelter at Guardian Angels, the old school. I represent the Manistee United Methodist Church. I've attended there for some years and I've been coordinating their safe harbor program for a while. I don't know if any of you are familiar with how the church has managed safe harbor. Well, I'd just like to say, okay, I see one nod, so I'll just say a couple of words about, okay, that we provide shelter and a hot meal for the guests that are at our church for the night. We take a week at a time. And there's some general areas in the church that they use that everybody, you know, of course the church parishioners will be in that area. And in this time of COVID, our church hasn't even been meeting. I think we're going to start meeting beginning of November, but it's been virtual for most of the summer. So when we look at what we like to suppose safe harbor, again this fall, as we've done for perhaps the 12 years in the past, and of course it's a ministry we take seriously because the people are there and need a place to stay. We're not sure how we would do that. It would be difficult, it would be risky, it would be stressful. And as everybody knows, we all have plenty of stress right now anyway. So I really hope that you give good thought to us being able to have safe harbor for a 5-month period at Guardian Angels. The facility looks really good. Of course, Echo His Love has been coordinating safe harbors for some time for us, and we trust that they will do a great job. So it would really be a win for our community this year if we could have that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
Robin Paulus. I represent Echo His Love. I'm the Executive Director. My home address is 73 South Main Street in Custer, and the address of the office is 525 Michael Street. We've been operating Safe Harbor in the community since the winter of 2009 because there was no shelter or any resource for the homeless individuals that we serve every year. I'd like to just share a letter with all the support that you'll hear. I'm sure you've also heard some concerns. And I had one neighbor that had a concern, and I wrote a letter to them expressing it, and I think it'll help you understand as well. So I said, thank you for reaching out to me and sharing your concerns about the Safe Harbor Winter Homeless Ministry. I'll take this opportunity to address those concerns and share who we are and our mission. Echo His Love, formerly Love Inc. of Manistee, has been serving Manistee County needs since 1992 and Benzie County since 2006. We exist to mobilize the area churches to transform lives by meeting physical and spiritual needs with the love of Jesus. We serve all people with valid needs in Manistee and Benzie County, including men, women, and children of all ages, regardless of race, gender, or beliefs. We are a Christian ministry that strives to treat every person with love, hope, and dignity. I do understand your concerns. This gentleman was a veteran with some post-traumatic stress, because I too have a husband who's a veteran that struggles with the same, and have a child that's an enlisted airman and one in the Navy. Just as service above self takes place for anyone who affirms the military oath, in the same way it is that our churches and community would do the same for the homeless each winter. Our Safe Harbor ministry began serving in the winter of 2009 with a mission to serve love and meals to the homeless with emergency sanctuary and community, providing encouragement to move forward in a positive direction. The first year, 50% of our men were veterans, and every year since then, we have proudly served our homeless veterans. Not only do we provide a warm, safe place, we work on a pathway to housing. And I'm proud to say that on average, 70% of our homeless guests attain a stable home by the end of the time they're with us. Safe Harbor guests will check in between 6 and 8 p.m. each night and are required to leave the host site by 8 a.m. in the following morning. Each new guest undergoes a background check that is performed by a law officer on duty. All volunteers from the churches and community have also been vetted prior to serving. Our guests are served dinner, have scheduled smoke breaks, and lights out at a certain time. They're permitted outside only with supervision until they exit the program in the morning. It's not uncommon for a guest to have employment, and some may leave early for work or have a pre-scheduled later arrival check-in. But anything past 8 p.m., unless it is a pre-scheduled, would be with our local police officers if they find a homeless person that is on the streets that needs to be checked in, and they escort them to the property. We have a very strong relationship with our community, and I believe if you speak with the officers that have done the background checks, that they would find that it's been a beneficial area for the community. This individual was worried that our building is active, and I said, I agree, our building is active. I'm here at the office very late because when we work, it meets during the daytime, and we're not always just a 9 to 5 ministry. We also share our building with Central Wellness, who serves the needs of the mentally and cognitively challenged members of our community, and that also is part of our activity at the building. Normally, we rotate between the churches, and as due to the COVID this year, our churches, as you just heard, are not able to hold that commitment, even though they would like to. So we're asking for this temporary activity permit to serve Safe Harbor guests this season at one location. We know it's not a permanent solution, but we know that it will help people stay warm and sheltered this winter so we don't find our neighbors frozen on the streets. Thank you.
Would you, any council, do you have any questions? I have one.
Okay.
I was reading through all the material that you said, and you talked about when you reach a maximum, you're going to shut the doors. What is that number? What do you think it will be?
Yeah, so when we looked through the space of the area in order to keep them socially distanced, we would look at a maximum of 10 women and 10 men. With the opportunity of maybe one family in an area that would be sanctioned off for the family only. Our average night is about 11 to 15 people.
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Anybody else?
Hi, Lisa Clark, 225 2nd Avenue, Manistee, Michigan. I am the director of Safe Harbor. I'm a family services director at Equinix Love. And this last season, we served 37 guests, and 22 of them were men. 22 were men, 15 were women, and 2 of those were veterans. And I was asked recently what the age range was of most of our guests. And they all call me mom just because I'm kind of bossy. And I have children in their 70s and 80s because I've had many guests between the ages of 55 and 75, and I think my oldest one was 77. So the majority of the guests that we are serving are in your senior range, and we don't see as many young people as we do older people, and we do have veterans every year. So I think that this is an important thing in this community for many, many reasons, because last year when we had to adhere to the requirements from our government, it became a very difficult program to run. I lost volunteers, especially my older volunteers, because most of my volunteers are also in the senior range. And they chose to stay home as well for fear of COVID, and I understood that. So we took on, with the Northwest Michigan Community Action Agency, we gathered together with them, and they housed our 7 final guests at the end of the year in a motel. They were in the motel, but they were monitored constantly by me. I had monitors in the rooms, and we came there every night to check them in. We verified everything that was going on with them, and when it came time to remove them from the program at the end of the season, I went in with another group and we made sure that their rooms were cleaned out. This is something that I wanted to address with you because I wanted you to know that Safe Harbor is monitored constantly. Our guests are not left alone. There are volunteers on site at all times, and we will do what we have to do to protect our guests as well as to keep them safe and warm, but our volunteers as well as our host site and our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
Hi, my name is Shane Machin. I'm at 622 Ramsdale Street. I'm an attorney locally, and I'm also an associate pastor at Christian Faith Church International. That's at 55 Division Street. Our church has been hosting Safe Harbor for 3 years. And during that time, we've hosted pregnant mothers, infants, young children, teenagers. We've hosted elderly, veterans, disabled, really people of all ages and all backgrounds. I've actually served people that I graduated Manistee High School with. I think sometimes there's a misconception about homeless people that they look one way or they have a certain demographic or a specific issue. That has not been my experience. We've spent holidays with people. We kind of uproot our lives to stay the night. We leave our families and our children so that we can meet the needs of our fellow community members. We have never had an incident. We have never had a serious incident, certainly, but never really even an issue on the nights that we've hosted. But we are concerned about our ability to be able to host in our church this year for a couple of reasons. First, we're a pretty small congregation, and we have a number of older people, so we're concerned about the safety of some of our volunteers. I know that we'll do whatever it takes that the answer is no, but certainly it would bring some relief to us to be able to serve them in a consistent place and keep our more vulnerable church members separate from this community that we're frankly really invested in. And so I would appreciate your consideration of what Ms. Paulus has brought before you, and certainly our church is in support of it, and we'll do everything we can to make sure that Safe Harbor is fully staffed this year and do it in as safe as a way as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
My name is Cynthia Barrington. I'm a grandma who has been homeless with Love Inc. I was there in 2012 with my grandchildren, and I stayed the last 2 years, and they've really helped us out as a community for homeless people, and we just need help. We need people to come out and help us. We can do anything that we need help with, and we're willing to do anything we have to get our help that we need. I'm sorry, my address is 237 6th Avenue, and I'm in apartment 208.
You're doing fine.
They helped me with my apartment this year. Yay! Yay!
Congratulations.
That's about it. We're just hoping that we could get some help. So I figured I'd come in.
Thank
Say
you very
something.
much. Is there anybody else?
Hi, my name is Joyce Reed, and I live at 177 8th Street in Manistee. And I've been working with Safe Harbor for about 6 years with Faith Covenant. And Faith Covenant was the first church to open their doors to Safe Harbor. I've been in charge through our church, and I've talked to our missions team, and our missions team has agreed that we will help with food, we will help financially, we will help staff, but our congregation is senior citizens, and they're afraid to open the building because we have so many teenagers that use the building, and they're in and out, and they just decided that they would rather do it off-site and help that way. We have never had an issue with the people in Safe Harbor. I've come to know them a lot, met some really good people there. So I would hope that you would give this easement for them to be in one spot. I think it would be easier for them to find us, because we'd always be in the same spot. And it might make it easier for the churches if they only had to take a certain number of days instead of a whole week at a time. It wouldn't be such a burden on their congregation. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Last call. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll continue with the consent agenda. All items marked with an asterisk are on the consent agenda and considered by the city manager to be routine matters. Prior to approval of the consent agenda, any member of the council may have an item from the consent agenda removed and taken up during the regular portion of the meeting. Tonight, consent agenda items include approval of minutes, payroll, invoices, and notification regarding next work session. At this time, council can take action to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second. I have a motion. Who's second? Who did the second? You all set? No further discussion? Please take the roll.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yeah.
Councilmember Eaton.
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Siksik.
Yes.
Councilmember Szymanski.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin Tanya.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Unfinished business, we have none. New business. Consideration of approving a temporary activity permit to echo his love to allow for the sheltering of the homeless population in the city of Manistee at one location throughout the winter. Echo His Love is requesting a temporary activity permit to allow for the sheltering of the Manistee homeless at one location throughout the winter. Temporary activity permits must be approved by the City Council. This would allow for the homeless in the city of Manistee to be sheltered for 5 months, from November 2nd, 2020 until April 2nd, 2021. At Echo His Love main campus located at 525 Michael Street. Typically, the homeless are sheltered by rotating churches throughout the winter, but due to COVID-19, this cannot take place. Over the 2020-2021 winter, temporary activity permits are allowed via the zoning ordinance section 522 and section 507. At this time, council could take action to approve a temporary activity permit to Echo His Love to allow for the sheltering of the homeless population in Manistee at one location throughout the winter. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make the motion. I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please take the roll.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Siksik.
Yes.
Councilmember Szymanski.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin Tanya.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Concerns and comments. Citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for citizens to comment on municipal services, activities, or areas of city involvement. Citizens in attendance shall be recognized by the mayor for comments, limited to 5 letters, 5 minutes. Letters submitted to council will not be publicly read. Do we have any citizens' comments tonight? Yes. Please state your name and address.
Joy Smith, 164 Harrison. Thank you very much for your thoughtful approval of our need. and have a great evening.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing now, we'll move on to officials and staff. Mr. Taylor.
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Saylor.
Nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
How about city clerk?
Nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Bradford.
Nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
I'm kind of doing this backwards. Police and fire.
I have nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
Fire.
Nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
DPW.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Engineer.
Nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
Did I get everybody? Because I can't see out there. Martin Pontiac, council member.
I got nothing.
Councilmember Gabowski. I'm free. Councilmember Gabowski, or Szymanski.
No.
Councilmember Cooper.
No.
Councilmember Beaton.
Jeff Akula, could you give us an update on the wind down of the work on the north side?
Sure. The what we're calling RD1A is the pipelining, and then our RD1B is the construction project that installs storm sewer, water main, and the street reconstruction. The contract held by Gerber that did the roads and the underground piping has been substantially complete. Their completion date was last Thursday. The contractor met that. Then they continued with final restoration Friday, Saturday, and so we're in the punch list phase on that right now. We've had a couple residents that have had some concerns. Spicer and I met with one of them, and I think came to a conclusion for that this morning, or yesterday morning. And then Mr. Taylor met with another person today to hear those issues. But I think things are in pretty good shape. We did have representatives from Rural Development that walked the project with us last Thursday, and they're very satisfied and have suggested that it looks like we're a little bit under budget, and they offered to us if there was anything else that needed to be done that they would entertain that, those requests. On the RD1A, the pipelining and manhole lining, that project had the same completion last Thursday, and the contractor did not meet that deadline. So we informed them in a progress meeting last Thursday that we're going to be applying liquidated damages to that project. The damages will pretty much cover the cost for us to pay engineers to continue the administration and inspection of that work. The most visual of that is US 31. That should have been done towards the end of September. Obviously the barricades are still up. They did do some pipelining today, and we'll do another line yet this week, but they plan on bringing 2 crews in next week and complete the 31 work. So hopefully within 2 weeks the highway will be cleared and that activity will be completed. And then right now, there's a tremendous amount of work that has to be done, but there's still about 45% of the pipes that have to be lined, and so we expect that'll take probably 3 to 4 weeks. On the plus side, the treatment plant is reacting in a very positive manner to the work that we've done this summer. The peak wet weather flows that we've seen for years are starting to not peak quite as fast. We haven't had an overflow incidence in this entire summer, and we're starting to see even the daily flows at the plant start tapering down slightly. So all the work that is being done and the money that we're investing is having a very positive impact.
Well, thank you. I took a drive through the north side and all the work that's been done, and overall I was very impressed. So I know it was a long, tedious, difficult project, and I know you've heard from a lot of the neighbors, but I think the end result speaks for itself. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
staying on top of things.
Councilmember Sipnick? Nothing? I have nothing except to thank everybody for coming tonight. Thank you for all your input. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion. We're adjourned.